Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Our chapter is blood circulation or the transportation of materials in living things. So far in our previous session, we discussed about the various components of the blood. So in this session, we move on to the other part to discuss about the blood groups. Discussing about the blood groups, we'll start with the concept of the blood groups. The human body or the human body contains the blood that can be grouped into the four blood groups, namely the groups A, B, AB, and O. So these are the major four blood groups that are there for the human blood. Now, this classification is just based on the two things. The first one is that the type of antigens in the red blood cells and the antibodies in the plasma. So the classification that we've seen that the human blood can be grouped into group A, group B, group AB, and O. They can be based on these two things: the type of antigens in the red blood cells and the antibodies in the plasma. Now, the red blood cells, they have these proteins, the antigens on their surfaces, the A, B, or A and B. So they can either be A, comma B, or just A and B. So these are just the protein or just the antigens that they can be found on their surfaces. Now, in terms of the plasma has these kinds of the antibodies which they can cause agglutination, the anti-A and anti-B. Now, based on these two things, that's where we get the blood groups. Now, the serum is just the blood plasma without fibrinogen. It can be stored without clotting, and it is used in the transfusion. So the serum is the crucial thing that is needed when you want to carry out the blood transfusion. We'll discuss about this, the blood transfusion, in next sessions. So the serum, this is just the blood plasma without fibrinogen, and is the one that is there. It can be stored just without clotting, and is the one that is very needed or necessary for the transfusion. Now, moving on, let's see the blood groups. So here is the table that shows these blood groups. So in this first column, there's blood group, there's the second column, there's antigen, then there's antibodies, then there is antigens. So in terms of the blood group A, so the antigen will be basically A, the antibodies, the anti-B, and the agglutinates will be the anti-A serum. Then in terms of blood group B, the antigen will be B, the antibodies will be anti-A, and the agglutinates will be the anti-B serum. And in terms of the blood group AB, the antigen will be A and B, and the antibodies now it will be none for this group, and the agglutinates will be the anti-A and anti-B serum. Then in terms of the blood group O, the antigen is basically none, and the antibodies is anti-A and anti-B, and the agglutinates are just neither serum. So moving on to our next slide, we just discuss what this table clearly means. Now, considering the table we've seen, now people with the blood group A, considering the table, the people with the blood group A, basically what it means that they will have the A antigen on the surface of their red blood cells, as you have seen in the table. And in terms as a result, the anti-A antibodies will just not be produced by them because they would cause the destruction of their own blood. So that's how we've seen how the table, how there is those kinds of things. There's there is these antibodies, these antigens, so they are there. So you can just catch up the table and see clearly what they mean. Now, however, if B-type blood is injected into their systems, the anti-B antibodies in their plasma will just recognize it as aliens, and they burst or agglutinate the introduced red blood cells in order to cleanse the blood of alien protein. So here is where the blood transfusion comes in. So in terms of checking that table, you can seriously note how what kind of blood can be transfused, or what kind of blood can be transferred from one person to another. So in terms of for some kind of explanation here, we see that for example, however, maybe if blood type B blood is injected into their systems. Here talking about the type A blood people, the antibodies B antibodies in their plasma, we just recognize it as an alien, and in that case they will just burst and they agglutinate the introduced red blood cells in order to cleanse the blood of the alien protein. So I hope you get the idea here. Now, individuals with the type O blood, they do not produce any antigens. So as we've seen in the table, there is no antigens for the type group O. Now, moving on. Therefore, their blood, in terms of this group O, their blood normally will not be rejected. So they are basically, from there, you can just say that they are universal donors. It means that they can just supply blood to anyone, since their blood normally will not be rejected by any kind of groups of blood when it is given to others with the different blood groups. Now, as a result, type O people are universal donors for the transfusions, but they can receive only type O blood themselves. So that's the uniqueness of the type O people. Now, those who have type AB blood, they do not make any antibodies. So in that case, you can just tell that these people, the type AB blood, they are universal recipient, as you can see from the table. Now, their blood just does not discriminate against any other blood type. So in that case, you can just tell that consequently they are universal receivers or recipients for the transfusions, but their blood will be agglutinated when given to people with every other type because they produce both kinds of antigens. So I hope that's clear, everyone. Thank you for listening. We've started discussing about the blood groups. We've seen the major groups of the blood, how they can be classified. We've seen the table that describes all the blood groups, and we've seen a simple explanations to all the blood groups. So I hope that's clear, and thank you.